And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 4 of Welcome to the Future. And on today's episode, we have our extended Fohse family, Eden Water Technologies, here sitting in with us. Thank you guys for coming to be with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
This is
It's super
amazing.
dope to have you in studio. Is this your first time coming into the new set here?
Yes.
Yes.
The new set? Since
Yeah, it's awesome.
You guys have done a great
Yeah,
job
it's
with
amazing.
Yeah, they've seen the showroom, but I think this is the first time actually seeing the new.
Yeah,
podcast.
this
This has been fully built out.
This is a break
New
room.
studio.
Last time I was in here.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Slightly
You guys-
different. Changes.
Yeah, executive lounge to full podcast studio and content creation room. Yeah,
So there's some comfortable couches in the space if you need to come in and work and kind of have more of a comfortable setting, but great.
We have foosball for that.
Yep. The reigning champ. Yeah. Challenges everyone. That's how he gets
Bring
deals
it.
with other people. I
Right.
don't even take
Oh,
it.
yeah.
If I beat you,
If I beat you gotta give me some
this
lights. I'm
deal.
like, I'll just give you the lights.
That's a good strategy.
Oh, we
there,
play
bro.
for
Come play the
discounts.
game,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can play
Yeah.
for discounts.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great time.
I suggest getting some practice rounds in before
I
you
know.
go.
Because you do not want to play. You won't get a discount with me because I will beat you.
Oh yeah, no, he's very. It's a home court advantage. Too, so
Yeah, for sure.
I love that stupid game.
But you
It's
mastered it though,
fantastic.
right?
I don't know. I love to get beat.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but yeah, it's great. Maybe I could pick up a move. I don't know.
Right?
It's awesome.
No spinnies.
But it's a gentleman's
Yeah.
game. If you get a cheap shot or you take a point you shouldn't have because you weren't sure it was a goalie, it payback immediately.
Yeah.
You'll get immediate
Foosball
payback.
gods.
They'll get a goal. Yeah.
Well, before we get going too far, I at least want you guys to introduce yourself by name, role, kind of what you do at the company and how you've been able to, further the brand and pushing it forward as we just start going into the fourth quarter, preparing to go into the fourth quarter of 2022, second quarter. Fumble that.
I was like, fourth quarter? How
I
do
know
these
it's
quarters
already
work?
as we're preparing to go
really?
into the second quarter
Right.
of 2022 here. So, Tony, you want to start?
My name's Tony Lambright, Vice President, Eden. Obviously control a lot of the operations side, day to day, in and out with the guys and the crew, setting policy standards, handling all the back side of things. It's what I've been good at, though, and that's behind the scenes you need. And I think that's what makes us a great team, is coming from two separate backgrounds. Engineering, innovation, one to source the parts, one to be able to make that vision happen. And keeping that on the day-to-day, it's been really successful. So I play that role in Eden, and I love it. It's fun. But no, definitely what we're doing to the industry is even better than what we're doing. And no. Nick?
I'm Nick.
Mr. Cool.
President of Eden. I started the whole madness, and here we are. I come up with a bunch of crazy shit for everybody to do, and then everybody does it, and then magic happens, and we come up with the Paragon, and it's great. I love my job.
Nice.
This team is nuts.
Important to have a good team.
I'm Shell. My main thing, I guess you would say, is marketing, but I kind of do a little bit of freaking everything. I feel like I'm, anything they
some glue
need me
there.
to do, they throw me stuff, and I just try to accomplish whatever I can to kind of keep the ball rolling and it going smooth. So yeah.
Her best talent is to just be able to sit at a desk and smash her head into the keyboard for 8 hours straight,
Yeah.
Take care of all your guys'
and then have a
mistakes.
beer and go home.
Yeah, if you give me
So-
a task, I'm not going to stop until I
Yeah.
finish it. And
Tenacious.
if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to figure out how to do it. So that's just kind of one of my things, yeah.
I see.
Especially in this industry too, being very entrepreneurial, being able to wear multiple hats.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
have to.
jump into certain scenarios very quickly.
Right.
Is paramount to
Oh, yeah.
anyone's success.
And you've got us up here, and we're backed by a great team also that aren't here with us today. But everyone plays a key role, and everyone brings something to the table, and that's what I think is our success.
Everybody loves their job,
Yeah.
and it's man, there's something else.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't forget to introduce Charlie.
Oh, we can't forget Charlie either.
Can't forget an honorable
Charlie, he's
mention
a
of
shop
Charlie.
dog.
AKA Chuck Foolery.
He's a real good boy, except for if there's birds around or bigger dogs, then he's not so good. But for the most part, he's a real good boy.
Today he's
So,
chill.
Yeah.
You guys probably wouldn't have been able to tell that Charlie's here, but he's been here since the beginning, and he hasn't made one piece. He's
Just
had a piece
chilling.
of turkey. He's had a piece of ham from the table, so he
Yeah.
has been good. He's
Yeah.
good.
He's chilling.
Good,
That's
good.
it. Aren't we all?
Right?
So Nick, take us to the beginning. For those that may not know, the practice of fertigation kind of spans 3 generations for Nick, starting with his grandfather, his father, and now him. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
I think fertigation. Let's start over. It's water treatment for 3 generations, but fertigation's kind of this type of fertigation's kind of new-ish with cannabis anyway. But so 3 generations of water treatment. My grandpa owned a business. My dad owned a business. I literally never wanted to work for any of them, but I did. You know, since I was a kid. Since I was a kid, you know, if I got suspended from school, I was carrying that toolbox. You know, if I got summer, I didn't go to summer school. I went to work. So it's 3 generations of that, and building up big dreams just to come back and do that. But it's great. You know, it was. I moved to Vegas. I fell right back into that thing. It was a move to Vegas on a whim, and so I fell back into that water treatment and ended up working with a lot of great cultivations here in town. So to come back to here, you know, to get as far as we're at, it's insane. I love that we come from that water treatment approach. You know, we're not necessarily asking a cultivator, what do you want to do? We're looking at it and saying, what do you need to do, because I already know how to move that water. Like, you want the Paragon water's at 200 mils per plant if you want to, 250, 500, 1700, whatever that number is, that's the volume that it's going to send. And I don't know that a cultivator would necessarily know to ask that question or to ask for that. You know, if I'm asking for lights, I'm not as versed on it as you, so you start talking moles, and I'm like, that's pretty bright up there. you know, and I'm not dumb, and you're not dumb, but we don't know the questions to ask because we don't know the capabilities, and it's been absolutely fantastic bringing that.
You can't ask what you don't know.
Yeah, and it's here we are. We developed that amazing system, and we've built an entire company of other attributes around it. Do we do water treatment correctly? We do fertigation however you want to, so whatever your version of correct is, it'll accomplish it. And then we fill it out with all the rest of the supplies.
I mean, with this cannabis industry and commercial cultivations, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of problems to solve on the equipment side, because everyone was just fabricating stuff for tomatoes or lettuce or leafy greens, and come to find out, cannabis needs a lot more light and a lot more water than a lot of these other crops, and these systems, I mean, weren't built for it. Even some of the hoses and lines, you're like, it's not going to work.
Oh, so, garden hoses kill me.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
I mean,
do not do
the
that.
number of problems that you guys have solved. I mean, how many problems are you guys solving?
What, today?
Yeah. I mean, but cultivators, I mean, you guys have got to be solving a number of issues. Like when you walk in, you see something like, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you just go down the line.
It's a fantastic experience walking through somebody's cultivation, and sometimes you kind of feel bad, but sometimes you really don't. Sometimes it's like, just don't use garden hoses, use this, your life has changed. You know, just get a nano bubbler and that'll fix that. And it's simple stuff like that. But I walked into one facility that was running 8-inch headers to 5,000 plants, and it's like,
it's insane.
What? And they have like $4 million in fertigation. I think they're expanding, whatever. But none of this. It was, please don't do that. So I run it. So talking to them, it's hard to say, yeah, that I'll fix it for 150, and we're going to throw all of that in the trash.
Right. So, if we fix it, it has to go.
Yeah. I get to blow that up a 10.
Goes in the plumbing graveyard, like the LED graveyard.
100%
one for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a graveyard's in many pieces.
They take a note out of. I mean, we literally both have done this, where we'll take old equipment from competitors, take it out to the desert, and just.
Yeah,
Have fun.
It's a real good time.
It sounds like it.
It's
a really good time.
His face lit up when he just said it too, mine included.
Yeah, Tanner, I'm very familiar.
But it's great too, because if they make that choice to spend 150 and throw out 4 million, which is a crazy idea, if they do that, they're going to have better success. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. And you make that ROI back by having that better success and having the tools to get better. We're talking about growing potatoes. But who knows how to grow cannabis? We get a ton of growers in here that grow some amazing products, and we all love it. But is it the best? Who knows? You know, we get this. I don't have those problems with this nutrient. This nutrient's perfect. Can it be better, or did they just fire their whole development team? So we want to give the tools to find out what can be better. Sure, that's a 6-part thing. Let's do a 7th part and make sure all 7 parts are exactly what you asked for, 99% accurate,
Yeah,
And
you're
what
not going to get
happens?
better unless you can actually have those
Yeah.
that data and those tools to actually push, to the 100 of the milliliter or whatever you may be trying to figure out, whether it be nutrient wise, feeding wise, feeding schedule wise, light wise, spectrum wise, until you actually have the tunability. I mean, you're just it's not going to be a scientific approach where you can kind of quantify something.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to duplicate that too. Like you're just winging it every time, like almost like people that cook with no, like how do you cook this? Is like, I do a pinch of salt. Well, your hands are like a fraction the size of mine. So
Right.
like what's
Well, that's fantastic spaghetti.
right?
I love it. I'll smash that.
Exactly.
But I don't like you anymore.
Right? How do I make it like that?
Right. But I don't like you anymore.
Right.
Now you're fired.
Right.
Who the
Then
fuck's
what do you
making
do?
the
Who's making
spaghetti?
it, right? That's true, exactly. And making it to taste just like that. I can make it,
Yeah.
but it won't be that.
Yeah.
That was one question I had too. Is I know on our end with LED is education and educating customers, even once they make the transition, but making sure that they stay educated. Has that been a challenge for you guys? Once you kind of get the product to people, is making sure that they stay knowledgeable about maintenance and understanding the product.
Yeah, I think as far as our customers go, we develop. I mean, it's not like you bought a pair of pants on Amazon.
Right.
Like they'll call me again if they have another question regarding anything else. They're going to call me, or they're going to call Tony, or any number of our team, and we'll answer more of their questions. And we just develop that relationship. It's not just thanks for buying our shit and deuces. Oh, next model comes out next fall.
By the way, make sure you buy that. Don't call us though, but buy it.
Yeah, next one might work. I don't know, but
And we owe our clients a ton of success. You talk about
Oh, God, they're amazing.
solutions and what problem solving have we done. It comes from our roots. Started out water treatment, changing filters, working on other people's systems. That's how we funded our company, funded our research, funded our development. So to go from knowing the problems that were existing, entering the market, navigating solutions to the current problems, seeing who had what on the market, and changing stuff. We remember BizCon at the Rio back in the day, and line of people there because a batch tank was on a skid. Then you come to the following year, and everyone has a batch tank on a skid. So I mean, it's not that anything we're doing with
I put 200 pounds of tin right in that.
So for analogy there.
But it's innovation. We saw what was working. Obviously, it's a solution. There's a lot of companies out there, but to go after and achieve what hasn't been done is a good and direct injection system that's going to be accurate. It's going to show for itself. I think a lot of the industry likes redundancy. The Paragon offers you that. It's simple to work on. We don't have too many major issues that I can record. Small things, a pump
The
tube.
ROI, you could just buy 4.
Right.
It's
But you follow your normal maintenance plan, and if you were to follow that to a T, you'd probably eliminate 90% of the problems that have occurred. Simple pump tubes, things that are wearable items that need attention to. But we have one that'll be in a facility locally come June 1st for 2 years with no redundancy, no backup plan. It's relying on that Paragon to water. A lot of systems I know that exist, we've pulled out before they were fired up. They're not running anymore. They're back to hand feeding. When we put the Paragon out there, it was to work, and we navigated any issues that arose, and we stand by our product. It's just a different approach to the industry. We'd rather see you make more money in that space instead of wasted space, man labor, power consumption, footprint small. And I think that's kind of getting with other companies that are coming out with innovation. The companies we work with and clients are a different type of client. Certainly we're expanding our catalog, but for now our clients are buying the Paragon because it's innovative. And that kind of hits a round table of companies out there on the market. And no, we strive for our customers. I don't know of one that's been pushed off into a corner or blown
there
up a
isn't one.
tannerite. Yeah.
Right.
There was times in the beginning, I mean, I would have gone and blown a prototype up several times.
Right.
With tannerite, but, none to my knowledge. So
Yeah.
No, they're all running, and you know, I tell you, call me. My phone is the call for the Paragon. If you got a problem, call me. It's not fucking ringing right now.
Right.
So,
Right.
they work, you know. And the second best thing to walk in a person's facility and just educating them, like you were talking about, the second best thing is starting up a Paragon. I flew out to Florida.
That's
I
a
was
lot of
like,
fun.
how long is this going to take? Oh, plan a couple of days. I was on site for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's
I
what
trained a
Tony was saying.
team.
Yeah.
I have programmed the system. We calibrated every pump. 10 guys trained them, answered all their questions, chit-chatted, had a great old time. In 3 hours, I was out of there, and I've called like 3 times since then. It was like almost a year ago.
And you were preparing that trip to be how long?
I planned days. I was like, I think they're going to have a lot of questions. We're going to get this dialed in. And they're like, here we go. The first one of this model that we put out, we fired it all up. Took about an hour, still same thing, calibrate, hook up everything, get it all hooked up. About an hour later, we're sending a batch to the bucket fill station. She puts her little dipstick in there, and she's like, I would have fed the plants with that. I'm like, well, that's what the fuck it's for.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Right. So you mentioned technology and the Paragon system. How long did it take you to perfect that system to get it to the point where it's self-sufficient?
I'll let you know when we're done.
Nice.
I mean,
Love that answer.
never perfected.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love
Yeah.
that.
I'll throw that shit in the trash if there's the next better thing. That's it's as great as it is right now, and as far ahead of a batch tank as it is right now, because we never sleep on progressing this product. Every time my phone rings, I want to answer that call, and I want to give them the right response, and I want to learn more. And if they're like, well, I really need to feed this 20 seconds every 2 minutes, then I'm like, okay, how do we do that? And we'll figure it out. And in that process, we can learn how to backdate and apply all that to everything else. And it's an amazing team. We could talk all day on just what that thing does, and it's
Yeah.
insane.
We push it in our own facility. I mean, if we're trying to break it also.
Right. Right.
And that quality control aspect, it runs, it operates lights, the full demo room all day, every day. And we're hoping to break ours before we can break yours. We haven't done it yet. So the only thing we've done is actually become more accurate. There's what's called an industry standard on accuracy on batching. And I think if you're very low percentage, you're off. And if you're not striving to get a 1 or 2% variance, and you're okay with 20, you're not innovating.
Yeah, we've
we're
seen
trying to dial
competitors'
it.
paperwork that says the industry standard is 15% accuracy, and I'm like, that's not science.
That's why I was like, that's why my face, I was like,
You can grow plant. That's fine. It works. You can grow
guessing.
plants like
just-
that.
You just,
That's not
you just pick a number, depending on the day, depending on the mood.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is. Yeah, that's insane. You can grow plants like that, though. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're the type of person that wants to push the limit and ride the ragged edge and see how far we can get these plants to go and what we can make them do, you need the tools to do that, and it starts with accuracy. And then flexibility, and then ease of use, and then easy setup, and then, I mean, we go on
Then
all
results.
day.
That easy.
Just to have clients that are using it and on the hour pulse feeding, and of those 8 to 10 pulse feedings, they're all different. Having the capability and diversity to operate that way, even if it's to one zone, it's
amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the feedback we get when we do go and train these people or show them the Paragon and install it is that it's really freaking easy to use. It's really easy for them to learn. We don't really get too many questions on really how do you run this program. It's like people know how to do it.
It makes sense because it's designed. We talked about our roots. We said, we're installing other people's systems and just a pump or whatever, getting into the market, and we're just asking every single customer, what do you have? What do you like? What you don't like? What do you wish you had? And then applying that all together and adding in our touches, whatever, just the ability, what our ability. Again, talking about don't know what you don't know. Adding what we know. Bob's your uncle. There you go. We could have rolled that shit right in here.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
And that's what he mentioned when we were speaking outside. He mentioned you can roll it through the door, you plug up, do the hooks, and I mean you're ready to go. And that's when he gave the story of you guys in Florida, and it kind of blew my mind because you're looking at you're looking at photos of this complex system. I was speaking with someone trying to just comprehend why, if you knew that this is available, why would that even be something that's attractive? But I know that that's, again, quantity. You think you have a lot of pipes. You just think it's a lot of solutions and nutrients being diverted to all those places, but you're really kind of prolonging the progress of your plants by not having proper
talking about
equipment.
pipes, some people see 90 pipes as redundancy
Yeah,
and
exactly.
security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But just think, that here's our water room. Our plants are throughout your whole freaking beautiful facility. We have 90 pipes running from here. So every time a zone waters, that pipe moves, and then it sits there until all 90 pipes move, and then they sit there the whole rest of the day. Now, with our single header type of system, which, it doesn't seem too revolutionary to me, but with the way we run it, every time a zone waters, that pipe moves. So it eliminates settling. We're reducing the pipe size for higher velocity to reduce settling. We talked about that the dump valve is a zone 2, so you can set that on a sanitary schedule. It does some cool things.
Yeah, we've got a handful of clients using both the Paragon and like the Fohse A3i system, and they said it's.
But shout out to the light above us, which is
Yeah,
the
right.
A3i. We're
Yeah.
sitting under an A3i, by the way.
Oh yeah, and they said there's one guy, he was like, I give it 25% to Eden, 25% to Fohse, 50% to the people actually using it every day. He goes, but with that system, he goes, you can go to bed easy, and it makes you so competitive in whatever market you're in, and the consistency, the quality that comes from it. He's like, it's second to none. He's like, you'll be a force to be reckoned with when you start having ease of use of equipment like this. He goes, equipment built for what we're actually trying to do makes a world of difference. They're asking a painter to paint a huge painting, but you're giving them a hammer.
Brushes, right? Or even if you give them brushes, just
Yeah.
the cheap brushes. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, you want this with that? Like,
Yeah, it makes all the
does it make
difference.
sense?
When you see their eyes light up and you're like, man, I wish I had, again, like Fohse, a lot of the stuff that the Eden guys have done is they've built off problems and they provided solutions. Like, I wish I could feed and then change my lights and change my spectrum and change my intensity and my EC and my temperature, humidity, CO2 every different week and do, like they said, micro feedings and everything else. And they go, oh yeah, you can do that. And it's just press. You just literally, you just go across each week, and then you press start, and you just walk away, and it's absolutely bonkers.
And it'll let you know if there's a problem.
And it gives you updates and alerts if there's any issues.
Oh, it doesn't just alert you; it takes action and maintains the life of your plants.
Okay, so this is the perfect segue here. Let's get into the Paragon, and let's really give, without telling everybody what it is.
That's all we had.
Let's walk through some of the nutrients that are delivered through the on-demand system, and kind of expounding on what you just said with the alerts that it gives you if there are some failures there. Like, give us a little bit of the behind the scenes for that.
It does everything. So,
take me to when
I don't want to give
plug
too
up-
many secrets away.
For sure. So take me to a
People are going to
simplified
start running
way.
single headers after
Take me
this.
to a simplified version of if someone says, okay, we have the Paragon now, you wheel it through the door, you plug it up, tell them what do they need to do to get going, and what can they expect within that first plug-in.
All right, so we wheeled it in the door, or it came in a shipping crate or whatever, and they hooked it up along the whole lead time. We've talked about piping, and that's gotten installed, and that's ready and waiting. So you go in, you hook up your inlet pipe, your outlet pipe. We've already told you what size unions and where those go. Hook those two up. There's a connector for our zone control, so we can pre-ship your zone control box, and then that's just a connector that plugs into the side of the Paragon. Now keep in mind, if you want redundancy, buy two, because it pays for itself today. And with these three connections, roll one out, roll one back in, and if that thing started on fire, you're back up and running right now. Worst case scenario, but it's never, that hasn't happened.
Just FYI.
Let's put that out there.
FYI, we haven't had any of those problems.
Right. If your water starts on fire,
You've got really big problems.
you have more problems than needed. I'm just letting you know.
Put
You
the
should call
rest of the
someone.
place up. No, I'm just kidding. None of that happens.
Run, if that's the case.
Every piece of that thing is designed to be easy to replace and everything else. But worst case scenario, bang, bang, it's in. And we do have customers that have multiple units just because. We can feed 100,000 square feet from this table.
Really?
It's insane.
And your nutrient storage.
That's including that's including the nutrients.
Oh yeah. Just not barrels.
Yeah, stack them a little bit. Whatever. Anyway,
Still, the point is,
the nutrient storage is constant. It doesn't matter
we're-
if you're running 5-gallon buckets. Your
Right.
nutrient storage is a constant
Right.
through whatever system you're running.
Right.
And so, it's silly. I forgot where we were.
No, we were just
Got me
saying,
giggling over here.
What you get with the Eden once you plug it in.
Oh, right, so
some
we
of
got it all plugged in.
programs and what it does, what you can expect it to do, things that
The instant
reporting.
benefit that they see,
Yeah. So we plug it in, we calibrate, we hook up our nutrients, we prime and calibrate all the nutrient pumps, which is
Super simple, really quick.
let me just tell you a story. One of the first systems that I installed was designed by somebody else. I was just the labor guy on the job, and they had 50 peristaltic pumps on their system. To calibrate those, you run the pump, you flip the switch while hitting your stopwatch, run the pump for a minute, and then flip the switch, stopwatch, and do that 8 times, and then take the average of those 8. That's how you calibrate that pump, and it's on or off. So ours is, give me 1,000 milliliters. That was only $9.50. Done. Call it a day.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Now you can ask for anything. You can ask for 500, 20,
Right.
1,000, whatever, and it's going to hit that mark.
Consistent.
And I mean, I always doubt it. I don't know why. But every time.
But it's honest to doubt it, because it lets you know that although we've perfected it to the best of our abilities now, there are some things that just happen, and that
We've
goes into
perfected
testing
it.
and all of that, right?
If it was perfect,
Right.
we wouldn't be selling it. We'd be buying it.
Right. Exactly. Right. Right.
But anyway, so yeah, it's super easy to calibrate. We can calibrate our zones just the same, and bang, done. Enter your recipe, fill out your crop plan, which is a lot of copy and paste, and then just hit start, like you said, and here we are, watering plants.
That simple.
You could, if you had everything walking up to it previously installed, and not ever turning it on, in probably 5 to 10 minutes,
Did figure it
maybe
out.
15, I myself could walk up and calibrate and run a batch to a zone.
Really?
It may not be perfect,
Right.
but I could walk up in there, figure out where I'm at on running to the table, calibrate my flow. But if I'm running to a bucket fill, 15 minutes, you're gonna.
Wow. So it's from 2
Everything
minutes
hooked
to
up,
15.
walk up to that fresh start. You gotta prime a pump, you gotta send a recipe. That's all you gotta do.
It's built for it. This is what it's
Yeah.
supposed to do. So that's what it does, and it's supposed to be easy because, I mean, I love everybody, but we've met people,
Right.
And I want them to be able to operate it as well.
Right.
They're some of the best.
Right.
They're some of the
For
best
sure.
people. But
Right.
you talk about some of these worldwide companies, and I have customers that love them, and I have customers that are like, I can't figure out how to start it up. They want to charge me 10 grand for them to come out, start it up, and I'm like, good, we just, I don't know. Maybe get a Paragon. I don't know.
I have something that could fix all of this. It starts with a P.
But I mean, so compared to like other types of systems, some of them just maintain a tank, right? So you have that tank, and I don't want to get too far into that, but it's a lot. It's the most expensive $20 you'll ever spend. So they recirc the tank, and then they want that to hit an EC, so they just turn all these pumps on that are kind of sort of average of a calibration. They just turn those on until they hit their mark, and then that's good. So it's not like we said before, where we're like, this is 10 mils per gallon, this is 20 mils per gallon, and that's what it actually is. These are like kind of maybe, and we hit the number.
We'll let you know when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
And you really hope that it was all 3 or 6 or 5 or whatever pumps running, and they were all calibrated right, and you're kind of like crossing your fingers, and it's like, well, it hit the number, so we're all right. And I think there's a little bit, I think we could do better. It's 2022. Cars drive themselves.
Right.
Can we water some plants?
Well, that kind of takes you back to the batch fill recovery, which is not going to happen with a lot of those other systems.
Right. You talk about a batch tank, and it's doing its thing, and oh no, it stopped doing its thing. I'll bet that irrigation timer's still working, and that's there it went. There, now it's in your plants. I don't know how many times like a Netafim valve gets stuck or whatever, and the customer's like, I don't know where my batch tank went, and I'm like, well, find out where it's wet. Let's look around. But that's, I mean, even as simple as that event can't happen with the Paragon. Our inlet valve is battery backup, so even if your power goes out, that valve is going to close and stop. Now, I can't maintain life in your plants if you don't have power. We'll call that an act of God. but that valve will
Nobody's
stop
system
and
works without
your
power.
tank will not drain all onto the floor. We talk about the batch fail recovery. Like if your batch isn't the same as it was last time, it's not going. And you set that percentage of accuracy. If you want to save within 15%, cool. Now, if you want to save if it hits 20%, now we got to take action. 15% is going to say, hey, check some things out. This is weird. 20% is going to shut it down, flush the whole system, and then satisfy the crop plan with water. Like, that's a simple, easy thing to do, and now I'm afraid that everybody's going to steal that. But great, good. We're advancing the market.
It's all good. But now it's again, advancing. You keep saying keywords that transitions to the next piece. Did you guys intend to advance the industry as you have with creating a Paragon?
Honestly, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm taking up a lot of time.
No, you're fine. No, take answer as you guys need to. It's all good.
Go for it.
You know, that first system with those 50 pumps that we talked about, that was the birthplace of this whole thing. I mean, should I just shout them out? I don't know.
This is your fifth or sixth one, right? As far as the systems you've built prior to the Paragon, how many systems total have you?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some versions.
Okay.
I wouldn't call this V1. I'd call this, I just moved to Vegas.
Okay.
So I installed this system. It took forever. It was like 5 batch tanks, and they were up on this thing, and it was pipes running everywhere and 2-inch through the ceiling, which don't do that in Vegas.
Oh yeah, no.
So we talked about pipe size. It's 2-inch feeding a 10-gallon batch with 20 gallons in the attic of 120 degrees. This is fantastic. That didn't last long. Anyway, so I built this whole system. It took months to put all this together and pipe this whole facility, and we had the hard pipe and octo bubblers on the table, and we had it was madness everywhere, pandemonium. So, but that was somebody else's design, and so that was kind of the birthplace of the whole thing. And how did goddamn I keep getting lost? You guys start. We should do a joint in the middle.
Yeah, right. That's good. No problem.
No,
We can make that happen.
For sure.
But no, building that system.
Joint break. Pause. That's all good.
Where was I though, for real?
Oh, you were boasting up about
The 50 pumps is kind of what.
Matrix's success nowadays.
Yes. I love those guys.
Yeah,
God,
they're
I love-
great.
See, Matrix. Love
Yeah.
those guys. So yeah, that's where it kind of all this started. I built that system, and I was all excited, and we're like, okay, they're gonna come out and fire up their what diddly doos, and and I didn't really ask any questions along this. You gave me the plan. I executed the plan. Here it is. It took forever. Isn't it beautiful? God, the pipes were just, it was nice. And gives a shit. So it didn't work. So they come to start it up, and nothing worked. And they're like, and that's when I start to ask questions. And I'm like, well, how do you know when to fill the tank? Well, that's this float switch. I'm like, how much water do you put in the tank? Well, that's this float switch. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, how do you know how much you fed the plants? Well, there's no flow meter. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And I'm like, all this madness, we'll just put this on a skid. Here we are. And then, that was the whole real thing. But it was crazy. So they have a Paragon now in Sierra over there. She loves that thing. She's the one that was like, oh, I'd feed my plants. Yeah, absolutely you would. I'd do it tomorrow too.
I mean, we know, and speaking of, I think with clients, I know data testing, I know you mentioned on the website, I'm at Eden, without data, you have nothing. And I know here at Fohse, that's super important too, with us having an engineer firm in-house, not just an LED company, but we pride ourselves on being an engineering firm as well. Data testing is vital. How has that been able to really advance the way that you serve your clients in a better, more accurate way? Because some people can just kind of hypothesize, well, it'll do that for you. You can kind of expect this range of results, but having accurate testing and accurate information pinpoints, the way you can assist. Have you guys been able to do that?
By being accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if you write it down on a notepad. We're already ahead. And then you talk about all the sensors, and you talk about the way we water. We water by milliliters per plant. So we've tested it in our shop, 200 plants at 10 mils per plant. That's not even a gallon, and we're sending it. So that's just water. Like, there's dynamics. That's not going to be nutrient water. But anyway, that's other story. But if we can dose with that level of accuracy, then if you write it down, what you wrote down is accurate. So we're recording all that. There's the batch log that'll show you all the activities of the day. We're about to release the cloud that lets you work the numbers your own way and show you graphs and charts and all this pretty stuff. But the biggest thing is, and we'll go back to the notepad, data's great, but if you can't press start and have that notepad match that start button, go sell golf balls. I don't know.
Should not be what you're doing right now. No, something else.
I think with everything going on with the Paragon, it gives a grower the opportunity to, if what I noticed early on is a lot of changes happened at first. Something wasn't working right in a room, you change everything. You hire a new guy, he changes everything. To get a couple consistent runs out of a room, same dosing, same activity, same environmentals, and to input what your yields were, and to accent that recipe, whether for good or bad, but just changing a certain few things and running that crop again. Nutrients you can run in same environment, same room. You can run two brands of nutrients through the Paragon to that zone. Say you had your zone split in half. I could run company A to the left side of the room, company B to the right side. Same strain, same environment. See what's reacting. We're moving into a world of cannabis that it's becoming corporate. People want to see earnings and put out a good product. I still believe we're driven on the put out a good product and the uses for it. But as we expand and cannabis gets bigger, you have to see in any revenue stream where you're making money, where you're losing money, to help the public make those decisions and make better educated guessing. But giving them the tools to do that, I think, is essential.
Yeah, the level of automation and data collection that's going on is kind of like, I mean, to go back to like that cook in the kitchen with all the best ingredients in the world. It used to be if you weren't that geneticist or you weren't that grower or you hadn't made that batch of spaghetti before with those ingredients, it didn't matter how good those ingredients were or you were probably not going to make a solid dish. What this automation does is it's almost like the YouTube or like your mom sitting there or that chef sitting there teaching you, because it's all laid out and you just press a button and it's basically just cooking itself. So what it does is it's giving guys, these big commercial operators the opportunity to, one, bring in, pros or, cultivators or learn, recipes, plug them in and have success with, the OG, and then that OG can teach other people to do that almost same batch without having to, go to bed at 3 a.m. because he's worried the stew's going to mess up an entire room, because he can go, no, I know they got these systems in place. Right. I know that they're going to not, forget to do the watering. They're going to hit every parameter I need them to hit, because we've got all of this redundancy built into the automation of the sensors, the reporting, and that's what kind of makes it, a lot easier to start taking big bites off of these large commercial cultivations where you got lots of guys in different rooms and different scenarios, different genetics, being able to have that press play and know that guy is going to be just as good as the guy next to him.
Next to him, yeah.
Is huge.
Not to worry.
What would be? I think you missed number one. They could take the fucking day off.
Yeah, right. That's another big one.
They can have a weekend.
Yeah.
I mean,
prior to the Paragon, did most people have a weekend off?
Plants don't sleep.
Plants don't sleep. It's
They don't
7
take the
days
day
a week.
off.
Exactly.
7 days.
Yeah.
7 days a week. Then it's harvest day. Then you got 1 day to clean and flip, and then you're back on again.
So you guys have removed labor to a degree by not having to have someone manually do that. You also have giving the growers a weekend off or a day to breathe and actually rethink about their business, because now you're enabling efficiency and accuracy. Those two go hand in hand. I was going to ask you, do you have a memory of the first client that used both Fohse and Eden together and like their response of that experience?
Yeah, I think it was that one guy. I think he's in, was it in Michigan? I know we have a couple of them now, but
Arizona, I think.
Arizona, yeah. He was, he was the one that was just
He's
like,
so great.
I mean, he just, every time
He's
you see
sold
him,
more than I have.
It's like, hey, get this now. It's changed my life.
yeah, he's one that's just like, if you have 25% Fohse lighting, 25% Eden, 50% my team, he goes, and you will knock it out of the park every time. So it's like
that facility, looking at it from an owner's perspective, that room is what, maybe 15 by 20, that water room? It's tiny. And there's an 8,000 gallon tank in there. That facility with Fohse lights, with the Paragon, it was designed to feed 36,000 plants, triple tier. It's insane. Out of a 15 by 20 room. And most of that room is a water tank. And second to that too, like with our water treatment that we've installed there too, they were watering with like 86-degree water all summer long and killing it. So it's what we do. Like, what do you want to do with your water? And here we are.
We went into that project no redundancy in mind. Paragon's going to work. You want this many nutrient tanks? This is going to fit a water tank and some water treatment, pre-treatment there, and it's going to work. Triple rack, it's great. And but there was no backup plan going in there.
No.
If the Paragon wasn't going to work, they weren't going to walk in batch tanks anyways because there's no room for it.
Right.
And thriving under
There
pressure
wasn't
like
another
that.
system that would fit in that spot. It just it wasn't going to happen. You know, if they want to hand water, they're going to take a route outside and fill that shit up. There's no room.
Yeah.
That place is insane. It's packed. So, but we're doing it. You know what I mean? It's not a surprise. What else did you? It's a fertigation machine. What else do you want it to do? You know?
What did you expect?
I should stay off the internet. It just reminded me of you got to get away from the memes or whatever they're called, where it says accuracy and the guy that's putting the garden hose in the plant.
Oh my God! Yeah.
It's contradictory right there.
Yeah,
it's
here
totally
we
not.
ensure the exact amount, and it's like I'm like, come on.
Nick goes crazy on Instagram.
Oh,
He just
I gotta
always
get
he's
off of that.
always sharing
I
these
gotta stop looking
Instagram
at
posts
that.
that he's like, oh my God, what are they doing? And with our marketing team too, he sends them pictures. He's like, this is what's happening out there. We have to show them that this isn't what you're supposed to do. And that's
Which
what
is true. I mean,
we're
the
trying to
education-
educate people.
I was going to
Yeah.
say education is
You
a
don't know
huge
what you
part.
don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
and you want to be. I mean, some people look for capitalizing on the industry by just being able to capitalize on ignorance on people that don't know better. But I think the value is taking the time and uncovering the untruths, the myths, and the stuff that is wrong, and actually saying, hey, this is actually the right. Not saying that it's the best way, but so far out of our research and what we've done, what we've conducted, it's kind of the best for right now. And we advise doing this to get that. And I think honesty and transparency is the key. I mean, that's something that's been the silver lining in all of our episodes is every guest has emphasized transparency, honesty, and the relationship with the customer, making sure that they have the best product.
Yeah, you want them
Yeah.
to succeed. That's our
exactly.
main thing. We're not
Exactly.
just trying to sell stuff to them. We want to see them do well. Matrix, for example, they just won best strain of, I don't remember the exact award, but it was something about best strain in Vegas or something like
Yeah,
that.
the Cannabis Cup or whatever.
Cannabis
People grow
Cup,
good
yeah.
weed
Yeah.
with Paragon.
Yeah. And we love to see that they're using the Paragon and then they're winning awards. Like, that's awesome.
I also like to also
And that
add
whole journey with them.
so that
Yeah, they're awesome. In
let's just
general.
face it, the Paragon may not be your solution.
Right.
There's instances where you have sizing, capability. A lot of things go into making sure Paragon's going to work for you. A full thought out process, piping all the way to the plant. If it's not going to work, it's not going to be a good solution. But we will find a solution. There's nothing we haven't been able to overcome, and that's because we control front to back of the Paragon. And we're local to Vegas. It's manufactured in Las Vegas. It's good. But there's always
they
solutions.
truly come from a spot of support. It's not ever them trying to push a sale on you, which I enjoyed. I mean, we've brought them onto a couple projects where guys might have thought it was a lighting solution issue, but then we come to find out there's no water in the room. Like literally they're watering one time a day and you're like, oh my goodness, no, we have to figure this out. And they're like, we'll call our water guys. And, we call these guys up and, and it's never just, it's blame game. At the end of the day, what those plants are doing in that room is everyone in there's priority and success. We want to see the biggest, healthiest plants, whether it be lighting, irrigation, nutrients. If you need different, environmental controls, dehues, HVAC, let us know and let's figure it out together. Let's put our heads together, come from a place of support. And they never just go and Paragon, they
What do you need?
yeah, what are you doing, idiot? It's never like ripping on you. It's going, hey, let's check this out. Let's see what the problem is. And then, I literally saw them, they'll walk every pipe till they find the problems. And they'll bring the temperature, the thermometers, the sensors out, and they go, oh, see, this is too warm here. This pumps out. This is misbatching. This isn't feeding correctly. And they go, this
just can't do that.
yeah, this system you have isn't going to do what you need it to do. And then they go, give us a couple days, we'll build you a comprehensive plan. And they come with a plan, and then they execute it, and it does exactly what they said they're going to do. And that's your reputation right there. When you do what you say you're going to do, and then you start solving problems, you're everyone's best friend.
I think the blame game only happens when you don't offer a solution. You know, like
100%.
anyone can point out the problem, like, oh, that's wrong. Like, yeah, jackass, but what are you going to help? Like, are you calling someone? Are you giving me a link? You know, but the fact that even in that moment of you guys working hand in hand, I think reputability is key too, because for you to have someone to call and say, hey, let's call our water guys, and knowing that the Paragon is going to follow up on what you promised, because although your situation may suck, have somebody that may have a solution for you.
Well, even sometimes it's not even a Paragon. They're just like, hey, honestly, let's just change out these pumps. We'll get you this. It's not going to be a full system reload unless you want. This would make your life easier, but we can get it. However, we can get it done for this. And they go, okay, thanks. Well, you know, who knows what they're going to decide as a business owner and where they're at, you know, financially or, you know, capital wise. But they come with solutions every time, and they solve problems. I mean, if they have a water problem and you bring these guys on site, within a week it's fixed.
We've got a good service team.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's incredible.
And I mean, it's a weird experience. You know, we meet a lot of growers that have never been in another grow, and it's like, and so for us, like hundreds, you know, so we get to see what works for you and what works for you, and it's not like we're sharing secrets. It's just moving water, right? So it's easy for us to walk in and say that's not right.
That should be your slogan. Just hashtag just moving water.
Just moving water, right? Just moving water. What you doing? Just moving water. That's it.
water.
The right way. Just move water the right way.
I mean, back to the garden hoses, like just
Right.
bacteria. Here you go. Let's fail some tests.
You cut open those garden
Like-
hoses and you see the inside of an old
Yeah, but
garden
that's
hose.
like
and you're
common sense. It's like drinking through a used
Yeah.
straw.
It's
Like what?
not
It's like it's
common
making me
sense.
think of a used straw that's
Yeah.
been sitting
There you
somewhere.
go,
You just
yeah.
go to, like, what did you think? What's in my mouth? Well, all the shit that was in the straw that you didn't clean out. You know, so
That's
I think
been
of it
sitting there.
that's been sitting
Yep.
there and accumulating bacteria, getting worse as it sits.
Kids
now
these
you're gonna
days
put in your
don't drink
plants.
out of the garden
On
hose
top of your
already. Why are
plants,
they
yeah.
feeding their plants out of it?
Right.
I did when I was a kid. I lived, but
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
And times are a bit different now too. Water
We're
and
still
all of that
walking,
is a
we're
bit
fine.
different.
We're
Yeah.
accustomed to bottles now.
You're right.
Back then, you could drink from the water hose and wake up the next day perfectly fine. Now,
Yeah.
you may have some complications.
You don't
there.
do that in Las
We
Vegas.
sell
You
our
don't drink the Vegas water.
No.
You want to wake up
You look
looking
at
at
your
your
Vegas
hands
water,
like,
so you'll see like legitimate rocks at the bottom of it. You're like, okay.
and
No,
rocks
but
on your
to
hand.
bring attention to being able to walk in and being able to walk in and come up with solutions is that was our base.
Right, yeah.
That's how this started. Service calls, and to come up with solutions and water treatment backgrounds. I mean, it's a niche market as it is, so that's why our approach is probably pretty different than most companies. We were niche to start with, let alone say, all right, we're just going to go service the cannabis industry.
Strictly.
Because we kept, when we met, under that ownership we were working for at the time, before Eden, it was leave the industry alone. You don't want that money. It's not going to be there. Stay away from the potheads. Just, we don't want to do that here. And he's back there building a system, and I see they're selling, and I was in control of purchase orders, and I'm like, all right, what do you need? Yeah, let's keep building this because we're on to something, even though people, But no, definitely the thought of where we could go, and just it just took us having to do it for ourselves.
Now, how do you? There's a quick question I thought about that just hit me when we were talking about the water in Vegas. Do you guys ever run into issues with the different water quality types within the regions of where your clients range from?
Our water sucks here.
It doesn't. I mean, with our process, it doesn't matter where you are,
Right, okay.
and it doesn't matter if you have a neighbor grow. Give me a water test, and we're going to build a system.
And it'll be personalized from
I'm
that
not going to
water
go on
test.
Amazon and say I think you need a water softener because that's what we used last time. I'm going to look at your water report and give you what you need. Because we're a water treatment business.
Right.
You're on
We're
the-
treating the water.
Yeah.
We have to figure out what it
Yeah.
is. what's
You're
going
either
on.
on municipal
Yeah.
city water or you got a well. You want to be testing those wells. You want to test the city water, chlorine, chloramine levels. There's a lot coming in, and so the better report we have to go into water treatment, take care of it on the front end. And there's some new technology. I do like nanobubble. Brings a DO. Yeah, I hate the name, but it's great technology. But no, it's to go on the front end of it and carry that through. It's important. You got to know what you're working with first. I don't know.
It's
Everyone has their size.
you have a system with 6 pumps because you only have a 6 nutrient whatever, and that works great for you and can grow a great product and fantastic. Thank you. I indulge quite frequently in it. But if you can't add a 7th, how do you know you should? How can you find out if you should? So if you don't have the tools to do this however you want to, how can you find out how you're supposed to? Bringing in irrigation supplies from outdoor agricultural worlds there's so many wild variables in that environment anyway. You don't need accuracy in your water because nothing else is
Right.
accurate.
Right.
So bringing that
That's
indoors,
not going to make a
if,
difference.
No.
That little piece is not going to change.
if you
things.
have 4 walls around you and you don't know the temperature where he's sitting, why not? You know, and it's out there, and investing in these products builds your bottom line and builds your product and it's everything, you know. So I love that we can provide this to the industry. Tell me what else you need to do and we'll figure it out. You know, it's
Yeah, we're
not
definitely
just
not
in
at the
Eden,
Paragon.
just the whole world. Like Vegas is great. You know, we have some great people in this town.
And to accent, I mean, we've got the Paragon out. It's not our first public system out there, but by no means is the Paragon where we're stopping. If someone, obviously we're going through all the procedures on everything to secure our end of the deal here, but you know, if someone went off and wanted to use that technology, I hope that as long as we've worked to get here today, that we're that much farther ahead of our competition and stay that way. So, but today you got a great system out there. It's 90% of grows, I think, could utilize it. Like I said, there's a time and place for it. Different methodology, but you know, I'm about money. I like money. I think if you can grow more bomb killer product and make an ROI for your company, that helps work for us. I mean, a lot of that thought goes into this. Like, let people go enjoy their jobs, fluff the plants, be happy with a good steady paycheck.
Yeah, not be worried
sure.
about everything in between because the Paragon's already doing that.
Right.
You just
Well,
take care of the little things, you know?
You're not busying your hands.
Yeah.
You know, it's so mundane to clean a batch tank. You know, sure, I can pay a $12 an hour guy to do that, but why would you make that his life? He doesn't want to clean that tank.
And then you still have to worry about quality cleaning too, to make sure that the quality is consistent every time it's cleaned to, you know, have the same results. That's a huge gamble. In
Yeah,
itself.
and that's people winning all the way down the chain. I mean, the goal is to grow bigger, better, stronger cannabis, you know, for a nicer final product for consumers, recreational or medical. So you don't know who's actually going to be getting that final product. Could be someone, you know, going through chemo or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or, you know, severe pain, or someone just really bored. But either way, you know, if a guy can produce that medicine better, cheaper, and have it be, you know, more consistent, higher quality, it's a win-win-win across the board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting rid of batch tanks, you can gain square footage real fast. You know, even if it's just 2 tables, that's whatever we install, it's paid for in the first year.
Yep.
You know,
4
So
harvests a year times a couple of years, it adds
it's
up.
real fast. So
On top of not having to pay somebody to hand feed or, you know, manage
Or
all
just-
the recipes, all that stuff. That's
your people can do things and enjoy their life.
right.
We all have a fantastic workplace, I think. And I want to encourage that in cultivations too. And nobody I've ever met said, I love cleaning batch tanks.
Out of all the things they've loved, that has not been listed.
So here we are.
Well, listen, as we make our way towards the close of it, I like to close each episode. Obviously, the name of it is called Welcome to the Future. So I love to ask each guest, you know, some questions about the future of their business with the industry. So for you all with the Paragon, how do you see the Paragon continuing to advance the fertigation system and actually systems for growers?
Bigger, better, faster, just like the new iPhone.
Love it, love it.
Or smaller. I don't know, whatever we can do. If I could, we made it. If I could make it better, we do. You
Yeah.
know, so we have, we're going to integrate full controls of everything, but we're going to do it right. Like we started with water, and at the last BizCon, people are like, oh, do you control whatever? No, we control water real well.
Right.
Better than anybody. And now we can, you know, flip some light switches. So
Some really powerful light switches.
Yeah, some really cool light switches.
yeah, for sure. Well, you know, we did water the best. We're going to flip light switches the best. We worked with you guys, or you know, a lot of members of your team. It was a surprise to you guys, but we worked with you guys. What do you want the lights to do? And now we can, day by day, change the spectrum and intensity and just press start. And it's
Hour by hour.
yeah.
Hour
It's
by
crazy.
hour. Yeah, like
Such
Yeah.
detailed testing and detailed, like, hands-on, you know.
But when guys talk about crop steering, this is the ultimate crop steering.
Oh,
tool.
absolutely.
For sure,
I mean,
for sure.
it's,
It's control.
it's complete control.
You've got the I don't need that crowd, but then you have the crowd that's here's
Here's
Let me
the car,
find out
go
if I
drive
need
it.
that.
They're like, that looks pretty cool.
You go test drive it and come back and tell me what you would want more out of this Ferrari, and then we'll do it for you.
Not to mention that it's really pretty. It's
real
a really pretty system.
It really
you know,
is.
it is. It's
It's
very
all the
sleek.
LED lights and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for
Yeah.
lights, obviously.
We should've rolled
so I was
one
like,
in
Right.
oh man, yeah.
I mean, again, that goes to, again, not perfecting it where it's the best, but again, those small details always whisper, you know, that you guys have spent the time with your product. I know for us.
Well, yeah, and that'll come
you
in
know.
time too. I mean, like the swiveling bars, the diodes, the different spectrums, the temperature. I mean, a lot of the features, functionality, and design you see came from cultivators telling us, man, it'd be really cool if this system did that, or could you do bigger, smaller, lighter, different spectrum.
That's exactly.
Let's do that.
I think that's exactly what sets Eden apart from all the rest of the fertigation out there. Is that we've strictly worked in only cannabis. It's not been potatoes, tomatoes.
When
all
we
that.
were hungry, we
It was
filled that
cannabis.
need with cannabis.
Yeah. And we answer
Figuratively.
and we answer the phone every time it rings, so we hear all the problems that people are having, and we take note and we work forward on making the system even better. And not just the system, but our whole company, like the water treatment side too. So,
And we're driven by those customers too.
Yeah.
So it's not like we've been developing this potato for 20 years, and how can I apply this potato to your need? We're saying, what's your need in developing not a potato? And we're going to constantly fill that need. And every time you buy a Paragon, you know, every time you invest in our services, we're putting that right back into Eden. And my house is a shithole, but
yeah, I mean,
I'd
we're
love
not
to be
living
at
it
work
up.
better anyway.
We're just working to make everything better.
We put everything into making everything in our business and in that better, you know, in this industry. I love it.
Well, we have an R&D room at our office too, so it's constantly being tested. We have one guy that strictly
That's his
is
job.
just pushing the limits of the Paragon, giving us data, writing it down. Like that's his job. So.
He doesn't have to write it down.
And he doesn't, yeah. But he does. You know, he has a whiteboard and stuff.
Right.
He likes doing the old school stuff
Yeah,
too.
he's
But
old
yeah,
as hell.
he's
That old school way, when you see it on
Yeah.
the board, you can look at it on paper and it
Yeah.
feels good, but when you look at it on the board after you just witnessed it, it's a certain feeling of
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yes.
it's just It's
Well,
just,
that in itself is a test.
Yeah,
Right.
for
Is
sure.
the data here remaining accurate?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Yeah. And how consistently
and
does
we're
it
growing
change?
peppers, because why not? We're wasting
Yeah.
a lot of water.
right.
Ben,
And
what
they're
about
going to be
you? What
good
do you
peppers.
see? What do you see?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see, obviously, more collaborations, clients that we get to work with together. And like I said, they're going to start doing stuff with other environmental control systems. And I think as we start seeing crop steering and the methodology that some of our hort teams starting to develop with some of our cultivators, it's just going to be exciting to start testing. Lots of testing. Testing more, you know, recipes, batches, and genetics, and it's, you know, spectrums of light. I think it's going to be a lot of fun what we do next. We got some big things planned.
Oh yeah.
We're going to replace that real soon.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's
Sure.
fantastic. It's on my desk.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
That's going to be awesome.
Shell,
Oh,
what
yeah.
about you with marketing? How do you feel like it will change with you guys continuing to spread the message? In what ways do you feel like do you see yourself advancing the brand?
I think the main thing is we're just trying to educate people. I think that's the main thing that needs to go out there is just, you know, kind of telling people that all those pipes don't need to be there. Like that you're only gonna, you know, mess up your plants by there's gonna be biofilm in there. It's just sitting in there for hours, you know. So it's gonna be educating people, and I think that's our main goal is to get it out there, get the word out there, what we can do versus what they're doing now, and why it would help.
A little bit of education. Schedule 40 is bad.
Yeah.
Spa Flex is bad.
No spa
Garden
flex.
hoses are bad. 2-inch pipe is bad. 8-inch pipe is
Yeah,
bad.
run them down the list.
Yeah, quick bullet point for everyone.
Let's quick bullet point.
Yeah.
If you heard that, run it down.
And call
Nick,
Ian.
if you can, run it through us, just so we can be specific here in a legitimate way. Can you walk them through some of the things that you just mentioned that are bad, like garden hose? Can you walk us back through that?
So there are garden hoses that are fine. Check the grade of your garden hose. I'm sure if you go to Home Depot, it is not going to be the one you're looking for. It should be a food grade hose if you're going to use a hose. If it's not, then it's going to be porous and you're going to grow bacteria, and you're going to be wondering why the hell you failed your plants and wondering why our system isn't taking out your bacteria that you're growing in your hose
If
where you
you-
took
yeah.
the test from.
He always will
So-
shine a flashlight on it. If you
Yeah.
can see that light going through that, then obviously that's going to build bacteria,
Yeah.
mold, and all that. So
For Schedule 40 and Spa Flex, both of those are white piping. Light shines right through it. You're sending nutrients into a nice spot for shit to grow. Let's grow plants leave the piping clean. Spa Flex the same. There's black Spa Flex available. It's called Pond Flex. It's less available and more expensive. You can't get it at Home Depot, but it is black and it's fine. And we've used it in a number of
And it's going to save you a lot of headaches.
So that's just an easy switch. Just change to darker pipe and the easy switch. Just don't do that. Do this. Easy. Still run your 90 lines if you still feel like it. But just that right there is going to really bring a benefit to a basic cultivation. You know, where they maybe did build it by themselves from Home Depot, and I'm not like, congratulations.
No dish to that, for sure, yeah.
That's a lot of work, and you did it, and it probably works. But let's tweak it by ripping it all out and putting in different material. But yeah, I mean, it just constant education for these people. Schedule 40, none of that. Let's cut all that out. Schedule 80 instead of Schedule 40. If it's hot, use CPVC so it doesn't. It's just easy stuff. You know, when you're using, I've seen people running octobubblers and they take all the guts out of them. So now you have a 1-inch pipe feeding 700 octobubblers at 50 gallons a minute, but all of those wide open can handle like 300 gallons a minute. So really, there's no balance. It's going, water will go wherever it needs to. You know, lowest point, that's where it's going to be. So have control of your plants with emitters. Call us. We have a shitload of them.
Always in stock.
Set out your irrigation properly. If your provider is like, here's your bid for 2-inch pipe, ask them why. That pipe volume is huge. We said it before, where you're just having. I calculated one Instagram post at some point, and it was like, I don't know, hundreds of gallons of water in their piping system, and I was like, what are you doing?
I'll just add and say, let's look at it. You want to pick some knowledge, drop us a line. We're always here to answer questions, whether or not you buy our product or don't. You can call and get an honest opinion. You can get our opinion, what that buys you, whether that's a cup of coffee or nothing. But you can still call and get that for free from us. So I encourage people to always get a second opinion.
And we're more than happy to walk your facility. I'll just come over and say hi. I'll come over and tell you I'm not going to do anything, but it's nice to meet you. Yeah. But either way, you know, if you feel like you need help and it's in the water department, we know the answer or we will find it.
And always feel free to stop by because we're a riot and we have foosball and pinball and whole game area. So yeah, people can just come and hang out. Yeah, come see the Paragon, come hang out.
Yeah, and if you beat them in foosball, you can get a discount on that Paragon.
Discount on Paragon. So also to make sure that that's not missed, for those looking to learn more about your brand and services, where can they find you website wise? And let's also make sure that we list your social media handles so they can get all of that info in one sitting here.
So EdenWaterTech.com, and then for LinkedIn, Instagram, all that, we're at EdenWaterTech.
EdenWaterTech.com, and for Instagram, LinkedIn, and everywhere else, it is at EdenWaterTech.
Eventually, I'll be able to go right here.
Right, exactly. And then you have a green screen. Right here. Just so you guys know, this wall does convert into a green screen. If you remove the sign, we have a whole green screen wall that we can shoot.
I will start getting sunny forecast.
It will be coming soon. You know, please prepare. Yeah, please prepare for some more.
Here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So then you'll have to have us back when you do
exactly.
that.
Yeah, like we want to do some product reveals, talking about some specific plants and some results. So it's a lot coming more. Obviously, this is episode 4. We have our extended family here. All the first 4 episodes have been Fohse affiliated. We had Mr. Kevin Coute on episode number 2. On episode 1, we kicked it off with our CEO and president, Brett Stevens, and Ben Arnett, who's sitting in with us today. Make sure I mentioned him earlier. But on episode 2, Kevin Coute, and episode 3, we had Mr. Rick Campanella, aka Mr. Soul. And last but not least, for episode 4 is Eden Water Tech here with Shell, Nick, and Tony. And I mean, I couldn't have thought of a better way to spend episode 4. Thank you guys for kicking it with us.
Thank you guys. This is awesome.
We look forward to many more success stories. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I told them too, I mean, they have this space. So anytime they want to come in and talk with us, just go through some product and get some content, we'll always be here. You always have the guys here.
I think what we're going to do is we'll just roll one of those things in here and we'll do a whole product review.
We'll roll yours in here.
Literally.
Right, yeah. Literally.
We'll come to a whole showcase for it.
I think it'll be sweet.
It'll all be here. But in the meantime, for our listeners, it's been fun. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Make sure you tune in next week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fohse.com for episode number 5. Can't tell you the name just yet. Be sure to tune in. But in the meantime and in between time, it has been fun. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and peace out.